In today's episode of Today in World War II, March 19th, British and French parliaments fiercely criticized their prime ministers because they did not help Finland. U.S. and Filipino troops, they're put on quarter rations on Bataan. Adolf Eichmann, the devil incarnate, arrives in Hungary to begin mass deportation and murder of Hungarian Jews. Patton receives permission to cross the Rhine into Germany proper, and the U.S. Navy conducts a massive raid against Japanese waters in the home islands. Let's get started. All right, so on March 19th, 1940, members of the British House of Commons and the French Parliament strongly and fiercely criticized, well, it would be Chamberlain in Italy and Daladier in France for their inaction, lack of action, of doing anything to help Finland in the Winter War. Chamberlain had just a classic Chamberlain response to the criticism. I mean, boy, Chamberlain sure could do Chamberlain. He didn't have much time left, of course, in his life. He was going to die of cancer the next year or so. But anyway, he said Finland never officially requested British military aid. Okay, watch my eyes here. Wow. Talk about ballless, cowardly response to try to justify your own, I'm going to be redundant here, cowardice. In fact, on the French side, Prime Minister Daladier was so hurt, I don't even want to call it that, or I can't think of the adjective, moved or whatever, that he actually put a vote of no confidence up and lost, and he resigned. So at least he did resign because, I mean, they both needed to resign. Chamberlain should have been gone anyway after Munich, the debacle at Munich. But this was another reason why they should go. And of course, Chamberlain's days were numbered anyway, because after the debacle of the invasion of Norway, it's going to be too much even for the British Parliament. Sadly, on March 19, 1942, in Bataan, U.S. and Filipino troops were now put on quarter rations, which is about 1,000 calories. Food supply was just dwindling. They were getting obviously no resupply. The troops were becoming scarecrows. Quinine, which was used to stave off malaria, that was also depleted. Can you imagine being in that kind of a jungle environment, trying to hold off the Japanese, and you have no hope? You're basically fighting to the death or an ignominious surrender. All this is doing is making their chances of surviving captivity grow less and less. That was just a tragedy. There was no good solution to it. I don't blame anybody for that. It's just the fortunes of war. They happened to be in a theater that had no chance of being resupplied or evacuated. On March 19th, 1944, German troops occupied Hungary. This gave Eichmann the means to do what he had dreamt about for a number of years. He knew there was about 750,000 Hungarian Jews, and now he could get his slimy, evil hands on them. So he arrived to direct the mass deportation and slaughter of 750,000 Hungarian Jews, men, women, children. Again, I cannot emphasize how much I hate fascism or authoritarian regimes anywhere, because what do? They set up a group or groups of people to be declared enemies of the state that must be destroyed. And populist movements tend to produce those types of leaders and those types of outcomes. If we look what's happening in lots of countries, including the United States right now, and I'm doing this in 2025, keep that in mind. On March 19, 1945, George Patton received permission from Eisenhower to take the Third Army across the Rhine River. He would do so a lot more expeditiously, I would say, with less buildup than Montgomery. We'll see Montgomery do when he crosses the Rhine. He was all about intricate chess, putting chess pieces in different places. Patton was a lot more straightforward, and he got his people over more quickly and more efficiently. Sorry if I sound like I don't like Montgomery. I really don't. despite his faults, I do feel like Patton was in Europe the best general, a fighting general that the Americans had. In fact, I think the Allies had for that matter. Finally, on March 19th, 1945, the massive United States Navy task force with the fast carriers, Task Force 58, attacked the Japanese home islands themselves. They attacked Kyushu, Honshu. Specifically, they were going after the Kuri, Osaka, and Kobe bases, naval bases, and they sunk and damaged a lot of warships. The fact that a naval task force could get that close to the Japanese home islands shows you a couple of things. Number one, they were an overwhelming force that even the Japanese couldn't effectively resist. Also, it just goes to show you how good of a job the Americans had done in destroying their air and sea capabilities by this time in the war. Well, that's it for today. I thank you for watching this video, and I will talk to you tomorrow.